No. Okay, we're happy to have Ohad will tell us about using fine-grained complexity to design faster algorithms.
Thank you. So this lecture is going to be kind of an overview, not very technical, kind of summarizing a sequence of works the last 5 years. Yeah, we're talking about how finding complexity can help guide us algorithms. So most of the works are done with Hobby and yeah. Okay, so as we all know, finding complexity, we want to classify the time complexity of essential problems. We want to connect many problems to just a few sparse assumptions, and that will typically give us lower bounds. We want to also consider higher bounds. And been very successful. With the set APSP and threesome being among the major ones, among major conjectures, yeah, just great. And so the way that we want it to happen is that maybe we try to design fast algorithms for many years, and we couldn't make progress, and then we have some insights take and use them to design additional low bounds. And we want to also say that the opposite, that if we want to design conditional low bounds and we cannot do it, then maybe we can use this to design faster algorithms. There is like a synchronized relationship. Specifically, the problem I'm going to focus on is the maximum flow. And by the way, feel free to comment anytime. Anyway, so the maximum flow problem. So we're given a graph, and we want to describe the maximum amount of flow that can be shipped between a pair of nodes. And by the mean cut max flow, you know that the value of the maximum flow equals the value of the minimum cut. More specifically, I'm interested in the all pairs max flow, where we're given a graph as well, but now we want to output the values for the cuts depending on the variant for all of the pairs. Right, so you can think of it as the entries two instances, not just one. To motivate this problem a little bit, I would say that it is a subroutine in algorithms for several central problems, including minimal k-cut, PSP, linear perfect matching. It is of practical use from ranging from image segmentations, clustering, codification, etc. And this is a recent practical application. They used all-pairs max flow to identify weak traffic points in Japan. This is from 2021. So, another way to motivate it is by comparing it to shortest path, the shortest path, or very shortest path. So, so the way that we can think about it is, if we think of the single pair shortest path. So we want to find the shortest path between just a pair of nodes. Then algorithms are relatively straightforward. Can pick up Dijkstra, can have Dijkstra in mind. And as opposed to that, in the max flow scenario, then the algorithms are arguably much more complicated. So you have the feeling that max flow might be more involved. And in addition to it, with shortest path, even if you care about just the one pair, the shortest path between one pair, you could sometimes get shortest path from a single source to all sinks, like we get in Dijkstra. And this is not been the case with max flow, where you only get the value for one pair. So again, you get an intuition that tells you that maybe maximum flow is more difficult than shortest path. And so, given the intuition, one might think that, or ask, is it the case also for all pairs? You go from single pair to all pairs, do you still get that all pairs max flow would be more difficult than all pairs shortest path? Spoiler, no, not the case. But I'm going to now go through the journey kind of that we took in order to get to that. So now we're focusing on the all pairs max flow problem, but not in any graph, specifically in undirected graphs with edge capacities. So the capacities are on the edges as opposed to the nodes. And in this case, we have a very nice 16 data structure representing all of the cuts. So it is this data structure is a tree on the same set of nodes as the given graph, so that the minimum SD cut in the tree is also a minimum SD cut in the graph. Now let me show you an example. So if you have the graph on the left, and let's say the tree on the right is its Gomer root tree, and you wanted to find the minimum cut between the nodes 2 and 7 in the graph. So instead of computing it on the graph, which takes long, you go to the tree and find the minimum SD cut there, the minimum cut between 2 and 7, which is much easier on a tree, because it's just the lightest edge on the path between them. In this case, it's going to be 5. And so removing this edge gives you a partition of the nodes, which is a minimum SD cut in a given graph. Okay. So Gomer and Hu showed in the 60s that can be solved in applications of maximum flow. So a single pair max flow. There's an algorithm that applies it n times and gets that tree. It's not even that the tree exists, so they show that it exists, but also how to find it quite quickly. Okay, so now onto the journey. The first step we tried to see. Okay, people couldn't show algorithms. Maybe there's a conditional low bound. Let's try to gauge how difficult the problem is. But we couldn't say anything on undirected graphs. Let's consider settings that are more difficult. So those that Gomer root tree doesn't exist there. In order to, again, the goal was to understand the hardness in similar variants. So first we got the conditional low bounds for the problem. In directed graphs with edge capacities, this is the most difficult setting. So we got that this file requires n cube time, assuming the SDPH, right? And what that means now is that essentially you cannot do anything better assuming SDPH than just the naive algorithm. Applying maximum flow and square times for every pair is the best you can hope for. And then we consider denser graphs. And we were able to show that assuming the four-click conjecture, which is a conjecture about the time it takes to say whether a graph has a four-click. So given that conjecture, it takes n to the omega plus 1 time to solve the all pairs max flow index graphs. Now, if we consider the combinatorial algorithm only, then it means that the naive algorithm is the best one can hope for. The omega equals 3, so it's n to the fourth, so n squared applications of maximum flow. And the asterisk here is because of a recent result that is in the works, faster combinatorial matrix multiplication by Kevin here, right? And Yael and Uri. Now the opinions about it are quite divided, but about whether it's combinatorial or not.
Including mine, yeah, I don't think it's counterpart.
I'm sorry. No, you yeah.
But I just think.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying it's your opinion. I'm saying
Okay.
opinions about it. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it changes from it's not combinatorial at all, and it doesn't contribute to it. To maybe it will lead to a faster combinatorial algorithm, and all the way to it is a combinatorial algorithm that breaks the conjecture. So opinions range. Yes. Now in the second step, we have design a non-deterministic algorithm for Gomerich root tree. So now we focus on undirected graphs, and there we were able to get algorithmic insights from such an algorithm, and just to expand a little about what the non-deterministic algorithm here means here is an algorithm that can make guesses and then takes the guess as an input and eventually produces either the correct output or it says that it doesn't know. And importantly here, one that for every input there is a correct guess. So given any graph, there is a Gomerich root tree, right? So we want that every input has a guess that will lead the algorithm to a correct output. Now in that sense, we design a near linear time non-deterministic algorithm in simple graphs, and the natural consequence given the framework by Kamosino et al. Was that we got an irreducibility result. So given that, we did not anymore expect conditional lower bound assuming SEPH through a deterministic reduction that would be super linear. However, in the context of this lecture, we got a very important insight, and what it was that single source mass flow was the thing that captures the hardness of the all pairs version, right? So we what it means is that we saw that the problem non-deterministically in linear time, but the actual way that we did it was to reduce it to a single source maximum flow. So it told us that this was the actual difficult thing to do. And yeah, this insight turned out to be very important later. I would just say that we later designed fast non-deterministic algorithms for first mass flow in harder settings, so settings where Gomerich root tree doesn't exist. That's something that I'm gonna talk about more later. Okay, so in the next step, we show that this algorithmic insight falls in the standard model. So we're not talking just about non-deterministic algorithms anymore, but the standard model. So what we showed is that single source max flow captures the hardness of the all-pairs version also in the standard model. So which means the Gomerich root tree can be constructed fast, if and only if single source max flow can be solved fast. Right now, there's no like a natural dot structure for single source. So we kind of we defined it in this way. Then yeah, we just showed that these problems are essentially equivalent. So yeah, and any questions so far? Okay, now now given this insight about how single source mass flow is what we should focus on, we were able to zero in a very specific example, difficult example. So this example, we're given a graph, but we're guaranteed that this is how its Gomer tree looks like. So you know the structure of the tree, you know the identity of the root B, the source B, and of the nodes L1, children, and the grandchildren L2. So even if for a while, even if you got all of this information, it wasn't clear how to solve it, how to actually identify the tree. Okay. Then the next step, we were able to design to actually solve this difficult example, and to also generalize it, essentially solving the problem in subtotal time. And we did that in time of 10 to the 2.5. This was done by discovering the isolating cut lemma independently with the other group by Lee and Lee is here, Panigrai. They discovered in the context of global mean cut. And yeah, I'll just say that the main algorithm also used expanded compositions. Okay, so after we published this result, it was improved by several groups, as you can see here. But I want to focus on this algorithm, the m plus something that is slightly better than x squared. So it's better when the graph is clearly sparse. We were able to show now this is another kind of junction where finding complexity guided us a bit. So we were able to show fine grained reduction as follows. So what we show is that if Gomer tree in simple graphs can be solved much faster than this algorithm. So if instead of 1.9 we got 1.4, for example, then we would have a breakthrough in non-simple graphs, right? So that essentially guided us to just focus on the following weighted graphs instead of because of this barrier that the way that we saw it, we thought we might as well just go there and try to improve it. And then together with Lee, Panigrai, and Tachapon, we were able to design an H squared time algorithm for Gomer tree in general weighted graphs. This was later improved all the way down to near linear time. Yeah, so this is the way that finding complexity helped us. Now I want to say just a few words about the isolated cut lemma. It seems to be very successful. It has found many applications. This is a partial list. It is being used in several domains, several as you can see here. And yeah, the version that I'm just going to say something about the version that we talked about. So in our version, there was a pivot and a set of terminals C, and what it meant. What this lemma meant is that it is possible using log n applications of maximum flow to return an estimate cut for P and every one of the terminals. So we want the cut between P and every one of the blue nodes here, so that it is correct, even only if the side of the cut that is not the side of P that is the side of the terminal, has only the terminal there. So, so first of all, you can see that it's good because it saves us, instead of C applications, we only do log n applications of max flow. And just to make sure that we understand how it, what it means. So in this example, if the blue nodes are again the terminals, then the isolating cuts, this isolating cuts lemma would return the correct cut for X and for W, but maybe not for U, because the side of the cut of U contains also V. Okay. So now I'm going to discuss a little bit open values, and let's summarize a question. Okay. So so first of all, similar to the problem I mentioned a few days ago. So if we're talking about all pairs maximum flow in directed graphs, they're edge capacitated, then we want to know whether there exists a conditional lower bound that is slightly higher than n cubed. So n to the 3 plus something small. And again, this assumes that omega equals 2, because otherwise, if omega is bigger than 2, then we already doing something, right? But might be right to assume omega equals 2 when we think about conditional low bounds. And the other direction to attack this problem is to think of a non-deterministic algorithm for this version that is slightly faster than n to the 4th. Now for unit edge capacitated graphs, so it's also still directed and edge capacitated, but now all of the weights are just 1. There's a question of whether the existing m to the omega algorithm can be improved to m squared, similar to the case of unit node capacitated graphs, where such an algorithm exists. Another problem that I think is interesting is to find sub-quartic algorithm and then to the something slightly faster than to the 4th for unit node capacitated graphs. Now, in this setting, if such an algorithm exists, it should be algebraic, perhaps, given the recent result I touched upon others. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Please come to me or ask questions. Yeah. Questions.
Okay, so maybe take like a 5-minute break and then start